At the start of the proceedings, U.S. Judge Margaret Garnett told Mangione that he could face a maximum sentence of life in federal prison if he challenged his plea and if he changed his plea from not guilty to guilty, but said she would not be handing down a sentence at the Friday hearing. Mangione will next face trial in a New York State court on second-degree murder, weapons, and forgery charges. Jury selection is scheduled to begin September 8th. So we said out front, Luigi pled guilty, and I said that I talked to Lauren Conlon. So let's pull up the first article right there that has like an outline of some of the things he said in court, because CBS was reporting this, TMZ was reporting this. Obviously, it's news that happened in court, but this one goes down where he said in court in the open, I knew what I was doing. And so his defense attorney, Karen Agnifilo, who I believe her husband represented Diddy, he is very well defended from an attorney perspective. You know, she and Luigi decided to file this plea today, which apparently was seen to be coming in some circles, talking to Lauren.
Yeah.
And so much so that the family members of Brian Thompson, who is the former CEO of United Healthcare, who Luigi Mangione, I guess, is admitting now that he did in fact kill, the family members were there to see this. But I'm going to read this straight from what happened in the courtroom. Luigi Mangione admitted to the cold-blooded killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, pleading guilty Friday to federal stalking charges as the slain executive's widow cried silently in the courtroom gallery. Mangione drew glares from Thompson's relatives as he walked into the Manhattan federal courtroom with his hands uncuffed behind his back, but his ankles shackled, wearing a beige prison jumpsuit with a long-sleeve white shirt rolled up to his elbows. Several of Thompson's relatives, including his widow, sat in the second row of the courtroom, eyed the accused killer as he strolled in, took a seat and intently read, and then signed a document with lawyers. Mr. Mangione is prepared to plead guilty to the indictment at this time, defense attorney Karen Agnifilo told the judge. Let's go down to where he says, all right, so according to Mangione, he had, quote, emailed United Healthcare leadership while posing as an investor, requesting details of the conference, and received an immediate response. And Joey D, if you were telling me that you saw he had previously just emailed regularly and didn't get a response, and then when he posed as like a really wealthy investor, that's when he got the immediate response, and that set him off?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting that, you know, again, you can't go killing people on the street, period. I don't care what it is. That doesn't solve problems. I think most of us who have even slightly lived through anything that involves healthcare costs can agree we have a very broken system in this country, and that companies like this are certainly at fault for that, and the government as well, and the system that's been set up. That said, it is also, you know, when you talk about like the let them eat cake, you'll do what I fucking tell you to do and pay what I tell you to pay regardless of what your situation is. And if you die on the street, go fuck yourself, like attitude that people put on a lot of these companies. And I fully understand that. You know, obviously this kid was already upset about it with his own struggles he was going through, but optically, when he's not getting a response to things and then poses as someone wealthy and immediately gets a response, that's not exactly helping stereotypes.
Yeah, no, definitely
I will say that part as an editorial. But he said, quote, before traveling to New York, I used a 3D printer to make a gun. On the morning of December 4th, 2024, I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan and he died. When I did so, I understood my actions put him in. I knew what I was doing was illegal. At the start of the proceedings, U.S. Judge Margaret Garnett told Mangione that he could face a maximum sentence of life in federal prison if he challenged his plea and if he changed his plea from not guilty to guilty, but said she would not be handing down a sentence at the Friday hearing. Mangione will next face trial in a New York State court on second-degree murder, weapons, and forgery charges. Jury selection is scheduled to begin September 8th. So I want to relay some of the things Lauren Conlon, who you should follow on Instagram, she does, and on X, she does some great reporting. I had her in here earlier this spring to cover the missing scientist case and all that. She does a great job. But Lauren was saying that this was some brilliant lawyering from Luigi's team, because they've already been able to get charges knocked out along the way at the federal level. The terrorism charges, I want to say the first-degree murder charges. Either way, they got some serious charges knocked out, and this charge was like stalking with the intent to kill. And in pleading guilty, as you can see from the transcript here, a part of that plea, I guess a part of the agreement, maybe some lawyers can help me out as to how this would officially work with the paperwork behind the scenes that then leads to what he says in court. But Luigi is admitting that he shot Brian Thompson. So he's admitting to the murder, but he's pleading to a charge that is like not murder one in this case. As the court said, he does face a penalty of up to life without parole. What Lauren speculated with me is that this is the kind of plea that he will get like 25 years for. And now what's happening, Joey Deef, there's a second article right there from CBS News, and this is what Lauren was referring to when she was saying it was some brilliant lawyering, is now Luigi's defense team, in avoiding this federal trial that was set for January, they have that closed off, they are now attempting to argue that the charges at the state level would be a double jeopardy type situation, meaning he can't be charged twice for the same crime. And this is where it gets way above my legal pay grade. I've heard of that term before. I've heard of a term like that. I think it's also double jeopardy. Maybe we can Google this live now, Deef, to where like when someone gets acquitted, they can't get recharged with the same crime or something like that. This double jeopardy was referring to...
That's double jeopardy.
That is.
Under the Fifth Amendment, yeah.
So let's go to CBS News so I don't fuck this up. But there's like a double jeopardy argument now in what he just did. Can we just do find next double jeopardy? Because this is the first part.
Oh, okay.
The first part just goes through what we already went through. So his state... Yeah, go up to that first one. So... Despite being a single, this is what Mangione's attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, spoke after he entered his guilty plea, and what she said. Despite this being a single isolated event, Mr. Mangione has been unfairly treated since the outset in every way, and he has successfully fought off terrorism charges and the death penalty, while also fighting at the same time two simultaneous prosecutions in two jurisdictions who are trying to punish him twice for the exact conduct. New York law does not permit a person to be prosecuted and punished twice for the exact same crime under a statute that covers successive prosecutions. It's also known as the double jeopardy law. So there it is, straight from the lawyer's mouth. What Lauren was speculating on the phone is two things. Number one, this, which is based on exactly what she was saying, his attorney said, which is that they're going to try to get that case removed because he's already pled guilty in federal court, shouldn't be charged for the same crime at state court. But number two, if he was charged for those crimes at state court, this is where it was a bit confusing. I'd love to have Lauren on the podcast at some point when we're covering some of her cases to explain this better than I can. But if they did end up having to hash it out at the state level, her suggestion as to what their strategy would be is that they would try to get an equal charge to what he pled guilty to here, to plead guilty to at the state level, and then use legal maneuvering to argue that it should be that the sentences should be served concurrently rather than consecutively, which if I could put some math on this, let's say he was sentenced to 25 years apiece federally and state, concurrently would mean that they're served at the same exact time. So he serves 25 years. Consecutively would mean he serves 25 and then the next 25 for what he did. The other thing to think of here, and this is a commonly discussed thing whenever you watch any guys talk about their prison experience and things like that, is he wants to serve time in federal prison, not state prison.
Yeah, definitely.
Federal prison is way better than state prison. So he just pled guilty in federal court, so he damn well don't want to do consecutive terms to where the second half of his term would be in a state prison. You know, it would go from bad to way worse at that point. So there's a lot going on here. Interesting that this just kind of popped up, though, again on a Friday. I don't know. I guess, is that normal?
I don't know.
In court? I don't know. It's just weird that a lot of things happen on Fridays. Like, who do I got to fuck for a Monday?
Never.
You know? Like, it's just... I don't know. That one's weird. But I've said this since the beginning. And I know how righteously angry all of us get at the healthcare system. And we're not wrong. It is a broken system. In my opinion, this is not the way to solve it. I think this sets things backward. As simple as anarchy can be, it generally in world history doesn't have a great ending. I know you covered a lot of anarchy in the Sacco and Vanzetti case when you wrote that fucking play.
Yeah, I went to some of these hearings and was outside the courthouse.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I was.
You were fucking promoting the play outside the hearings in character.
What, promoting? Well, hold on.
I mean, Joey Deep, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you were promoting in an Italian accent.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I got some good headlines.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.